Hey, what's up everybody? It's Laura Eugen, your friendly neighborhood retro gamer and collector, bringing you another YouTube video. And I apologize, I'm quite tired today. I've been doing a lot of stuff, a lot of errands and things like that, but I wanted to take some time to talk about something that I read recently on a website. More than likely it is just clickbait, something to just get people in to read and all that stuff, but I did want to go ahead and address it a little bit. And what this article was talking about was 5 reasons why the Nintendo NX will more likely suck. And just for the record, it might. We don't really know yet. Nintendo hasn't released it yet. We don't know what exactly it is, what it's going to do. But I'm just going to throw some arguments out there to sort of address what this article talked about and everything like that. Now, just to reiterate, don't know what the Nintendo NX is. They said it's going to come out 2017. We don't know whether it's going to be a portable. We don't know whether it's going to be a console. Probably a hybrid of both in some way. Don't really know. But what this article states sort of got under my skin a little bit, because that's basically like saying, oh, well, this, that, and the other. And you'll understand a lot of these points as I get to them. One of the points that it made was that, you know, the last 20 some odd years Nintendo has released systems with gimmicks, and I'm just thinking, no, they haven't. The only system that they've released that was really even a gimmick was the Wii. And even with the Wii, I still understood what they were trying to do with it. They were basically trying to take the success of the DS to the screen and create something that... But yeah, the Wii did rely a little bit too much on motion for some games, especially at points when it didn't need to. But some games actually did allow you to use Pro controllers and GameCube controllers, so it's not like it was completely dependent upon it. And the Wii was still a good system, all in all. But when I look back at things like the Game Boy Advance, the GameCube, the Nintendo 64, they didn't really seem like they were gimmicks. I understood where Nintendo was going with them. And if you look at games like Metroid Prime, for example, being able to load relatively quickly and look really good for the size of the disc that they came out with, I think that we can all kind of agree that the GameCube was a decent choice. And people have ultimately said, well, the GameCube is a good system, and people still love that controller. I mean, even with the Wii and the Wii U, people have played Smash Brothers with that GameCube controller for years. So I don't think that's a really valid argument. Another argument that it makes, though, is that the NX is going to fail because of the Wii U. And this, to me, is probably the dumbest argument that I've ever heard, because that's basically like saying, hey, you know, that PS4 is going to fail because the PS3 was difficult to program for. Or maybe Sony learned from their mistakes and they make a more friendly user interface. Oh my goodness, they learned from their mistakes with the PlayStation 4. So, with the Wii, we had a system in which Nintendo was highly successful. They made a lot of money off of, and they figured they could tack on the Wii name, make it more like the two most successful systems, the Wii and the DS, combine them into one system, and it's going to sell really well, right? Well, to me, it was a good idea. I love games like Xenoblade Chronicles X, which really used the touchscreen functionality of the gamepad in a really clever fashion. And I was looking forward to games like Animal Crossing and stuff like that allowed you to have the inventory on the bottom, and who knows, I mean, we've seen it like with the Zelda Twilight Princess, where it used the game screen in a very clever manner to be able to make it flow more fluently than what it did on its home system and its home version and all that. But Nintendo might have learned from the Wii U. They may have seen it and taken, well, you know what, we don't need to do this, we just need to do this, this, and this, and this. And we don't know, and that goes to another point that this was talking about with third-party support, and how the system's going to fail because it's not going to have third-party support, which we don't know. We don't know, and even with the 3DS and the Wii U when they were first announced, we were getting all kinds of like, oh, we're going to get unrivaled support for this system. And then developers backed out, so we really don't know. But as of right now, everything that I'm reading about, you got companies like EA and Ubisoft and stuff like that, that they are really excited about the NX, and they want to develop all their games for it. And they want to bring like sports titles to this thing and this, that, and the other, and it really seems like they're trying to get behind it. And that to me does not sound like a failure of a system. Now to me, you don't need third-party support. You don't. After all, some of the best-selling games on the Wii U were Wii U exclusives. Mario Kart 8, Splatoon, Smash Brothers, games that Nintendo themselves developed. I don't recall any Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed game selling millions of copies on the Wii U, or on any Nintendo system for that matter. In fact, even on the Wii, Donkey Kong Country Returns, Super Mario Galaxy, Legend of Zelda, those were the games that sold the best on the Wii. So Nintendo doesn't really need third-party support. Plus, you also have systems like, you know, Microsoft and Sony that people tend to go to more anyway. Plus, people really tend to just go more towards PC, especially if they want to have, you know, the latest graphics and all that stuff. Which brings me to another option that this thing was talking about. It was talking about it being released at the wrong time, like it's coming out in the middle of a console generation, which, again, we don't really know. We've already heard rumors. It's been proven that we're going to get a PlayStation 4, like Neo or 4K or whatever you want to call it, sort of upgraded hardware. That could easily be it, you know, like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One could be it for Microsoft and Sony. This could be their last console. So this could be Nintendo's run. That plus, if you kind of look back through the history, Nintendo typically has a pattern of every 5 to 6 years releasing new hardware anyway, because their hardware gets outdated. And if they really are looking to future-proof this thing and have it be a long-lasting system, then more likely they're going to try to compete and make something at least compatible with an Xbox One, at the very least. But again, only time will tell as to what exactly the NX is and what its capabilities are going to be. But another thing that this thing was talking about was gimmicks, and Nintendo, again, I think I might have addressed this earlier. No, I did address this earlier. They're talking about gimmicks, but I don't know, it just seemed like a lot of these points that this article made were dumb. I mean, saying that the NX is going to fail because the Wii U failed is like basically saying that the Wii U is going to be successful because the Wii was successful. Or saying that the Xbox One was going to be successful because the 360 was successful. You can't do that. You can't base it upon a trend. I really would like to see Nintendo come out with a better support for online, because I do kind of agree with some of the complaints. I really do think that the Miiverse is okay, but I really do think that the idea of having it to where you can jump in and out of parties with people, being able to chat with people, even if they're not playing the same game, I think that that does need to be something that Nintendo does need to do, but we're going to address that more when we get around to talking about what I want to see from the Nintendo NX, and when we get more announcements about the NX and stuff like that. But to state that it's not going to get third-party support because it's not going to have good multiplayer online, well, we don't know what it's going to have. Or saying that it's going to fail because the Wii U failed. Again, we don't know. Or that's going to have some kind of a cheap gimmick. Again, we don't know. Plus, Nintendo, really, with the GameCube, they came out with a compatible system. Able to get online. Had a controller that to me was better than the competition, able to play a lot of the same games, and if you check the games that came out that were multi-plat, a lot of them also came out for the GameCube as well. So it's obviously able to get online and compete and do all that like the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox, but it just didn't. No one made games for it. So even if Nintendo does come out with these things, and they do state that, look, we got good third-party support, but again, the third-party support just backs out. That's not really Nintendo's fault, is it? But, I don't know. There was just all kinds of stuff. Another point that it made was that because there's no marketing on it. It's supposed to be coming out in 2017, and because we haven't heard anything about it yet, they're not going to reveal it at E3. They think, oh, it's not going to be polished, it's not going to be ready, it's going to be another failure. What I think they're doing is they're basically wiping the slate clean. They're taking Legend of Zelda and they're focusing on it this year because it's probably the only game they have left for the Wii U that anybody cares about. And so they're just going to make it the big focus of E3 this year. And just, you know what, there's no point in us showing any more games because any games that we come out with are going to more likely be on the NX at this point. So why talk about anything else? Let's just talk about Legend of Zelda, the one game that everybody's been wanting to play on the Wii U since the thing came out. Talk about it, give it a release date, give it a name, show off some gameplay footage of it, call it a day, and then at next year's E3 or later on towards the holiday season, we talk about it then. Once we get an opportunity to get everything together, to get games to show off, to get, you know, a good presentation going, to do something better than what we did with the Wii U and not feel like we're stumbling, and not to show people, you know, all this confusion that's going on. They very clearly state how different the system is and everything like that. That's what I think that they're going to do, but only time will tell, because again, we have till 2017. I think that there's just a lot of people that just instantly think, oh, wait, you're coming out for 2017, so you're going to show it off this year, right? They'll show it off when they're ready. They want to have it polished. They want to have it good to go. They want to have it to where they have a good marketing campaign. I'm sure they're going to want to wait till they get a good handful of games, so that way people have more faith in the system than they did with the Wii U. And while I will buy it because I love Nintendo, I've loved every single console that they've come out with, and I always have agreed with the ideas that they've done with them, there's some people that don't. And I'm sure that they're going to need a really good, strong marketing campaign. And I can say this from a person who is a hardcore Nintendo fan and was confused by the Wii U. Because when I first saw it, I thought, because the system looks basically almost identical, so I thought it really was just a controller add-on. I didn't understand. You know, it took me a minute. So, yeah. Anyways, that's just my 2 cents on the matter, guys. Make sure that you share your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about the NX? Do you think that it's going to be another unpolished system, according to this article? Or do you think that Nintendo has learned their lesson from the Wii U and that they're going to do better? Possibly even go in a completely different direction than what anybody thought they were going to do, like they did with the Wii, and be more successful? What are your thoughts on it? I just wanted to talk about this real quick because those reasons really kind of irked me. It felt very biased and it felt very much like clickbait, because it's like you have no standing with this stuff. A lot of the stuff that you're talking about is just speculation, and a lot of the stuff that you're talking about is really just like, it's dumb. I mean, as I've already talked about with this video, I don't need to go into any further explanations as to this stuff. To state that something's going to fail because of how previous hardware performed or because of this, that, and the other, you don't know. We've seen systems that, like with Microsoft, they figured we're unstoppable because of the 360, we're going to do this, that, and the other, and it received all kinds of backlash that they had to go and change it. And then we've seen systems like the PlayStation 4 where Sony really did learn their lesson with the PlayStation 3, and they made it more user-friendly, more intuitive, this, that, and the other. So only time will tell until we actually see the system, and until I actually see games that are coming out for it and what it's capable of doing. I'm going to really hold judgment on trying to say this system's going to stink because of this, that, and the other, until I hear things otherwise, that it's like official source or Nintendo themselves showing it off. I'm just like, what is this? You know, like, but that's just me. That's just my 2 cents. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.